This is the Andu Kedei Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode on a beautiful Thursday morning. So, without further ado, let's get right into it because we had a lot of action in the sense of rumors. And I think we had some pretty big news these days. So, first of all, let's go to Oklahoma City Thunder. They promoted their new head coach. They promoted an assistant coach from their coaching staff. So this is another sign that it's more than crystal clear that they are going to rebuilding mode. And let's not forget how OKC rebuilds teams. They drafted Harden, Westbrook, and Durant. And I think Ibaka. So, if I were a younger team in the NBA, I would be scared of them. Because they would trade Chris Paul this offseason. 100% Chris Paul is not there. And you'll probably get something from Chris Paul considering how good he was with the OKC this season. And the team I want to pick up Chris Paul is Phoenix Suns. And let me tell you why. I don't want to see Chris Paul in a contending team. I mean, a team that would basically have to put in danger their future in order to get him. Like Lakers, Clippers, or Bucks. Because if he goes to the Lakers, who they would have to trade for? So you have Kuzma, probably a young player like Kostas Antetokounmpo, I don't know, Danny Green, I don't know who, and give up some of your picks, yeah. And then you have LeBron, Chris Paul, and AD, and I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that. They already won a championship. I don't think they would need... I mean, obviously Chris Paul would probably make them better, but I don't want to see that. Now, if you consider the Los Angeles Clippers, yeah, he was there before. Doc Rivers is not there anymore. He had problems with him. He's a very good friend with Steve Ballmer, the owner of the team. So, but again, if the Clippers make that deal happen, they would jeopardize their entire future, who is already in big trouble because they have no first round picks for the next 6 years or so. And they would probably have to trade Lou Will, Pat Bev, Shamet, the second round pick, I don't know. So I think that's crazy as well. While if he goes to the Suns will have probably to trade Ricky Rubio, Kelly Oubre, maybe another salary filler, and give a first round pick, something like that. I think that would make much more sense because you see what Chris Paul did with this OKC team? Are you telling me D-Book is worse than Shai Gilgeous? Are you telling me DeAndre Ayton is worse than Steven Adams? So I think Phoenix would instantly be a contender. A top 5 seed contender in the West, because let's not forget that the West is loaded, but I think so this OKC team, this season ended up on the 5 seed. This Phoenix team that I'm proposing, I think it would be better. I don't know if they will be better than Utah, better than Denver, but they had the chance to be. So I said earlier in an episode where I reacted to a Bleacher Report article that was something like every player each team should target, and I don't know, I think Chris Paul was the Phoenix Suns, and I love that. It was the first time I thought about it, and I loved it. I completely loved it. I would really want to see that happen. If D-Book wants to be there. If D-Book wants out, there is no reason why the Phoenix Suns would try to trade Chris Paul if D-Book wants out. And we complained, and Booker complained that he doesn't have a solid floor general, a point guard. And this season they got Ricky Rubio, which was a huge improvement from the point guard I didn't think they would have. So, but can you imagine Chris Paul instead of Ricky Rubio? How great that would be. It would be a major update. And I think they have chance. They have a chance. They would have a shot. As I said, you see what Chris Paul did with this OKC team. He had no injuries. He played great. Maybe that vegan diet that he turned into last season had something to do with it. I don't know. I'm not a nutritionist, but it's interesting if you think about it. But I would love to see Chris Paul in Phoenix. Now, yesterday, we had some interesting news at least. And nothing happened, obviously, because it's still off season. Trades are not allowed. Signings are not allowed. We have the draft in a week from now? In 6 days from now. From today. So I'm excited. And we had some incredible news yesterday. First of all, early in the day, Woj came out with the Woj bomb and said that Houston superstars Westbrook and Harden are somehow bothered by the way the Houston Rockets did things with Daryl Morey and Mike D'Antoni. And I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe they were not consulted when they hired Stephen Silas and promoted Raphael Stone as the new general manager. But I found the situation a little bit odd because Daryl Morey said he stepped down voluntarily and he said he wanted a break, to spend some time with his children. And then 3 days later, you see him signing the 76ers. Like, what? Didn't you want it time with your kids? Now you're signing with another contending team that will obviously put you to work a lot. So that raised a question mark in my mind. Again, and I was thinking, was that stepping down really voluntarily? Then they said earlier than this season that they didn't want it to extend Mike D'Antoni's contract. And they hired the first-time head coach. And not to say that Stephen Silas is not fitting, is not good for the job, because the NBA, he's loved in the NBA circle. He coached Doncic, Curry, Kemba. So he has a 20 years experience as a coaching assistant, which is a lot. So he clearly knows how to lead a team. But it's a first-time head coaching job. And I get why Harden and Westbrook would be upset, because this is a superstars-driven league. You see that every team LeBron goes, they hire the head coach that he wants, they trade for the player that he wants. And I think I don't have a problem with that. You see now in Brooklyn, DeAndre Jordan will not be there if KD didn't want him. Steve Nash, you see how high Kevin Durant speaks of Steve Nash. This is why he's the head coach there. Again, a person with no coaching experience whatsoever, not even an assistant. So Mike D'Antoni would not be there if KD didn't approve with that. Let's make that straight. Let's make sure everyone understands that. And if the Houston board, the administration board, did not talk to Westbrook and Harden about all of these things, about their new head coach, about the direction they want to go in, I understand why they would be upset. Then Shams from The Athletic tweeted that Russell Westbrook is basically out of Houston, that he demanded a trade, that he wants to be out. And when these things happen, you already know that Westbrook is going to be on another team next season, 100%. Then there were reports that said that Harden is locked in. He doesn't want to leave. He wants to be here and see how this team can be basically rebuilt once again around him. And then you have reports that PJ Tucker is irritated over his contract situation. You hear that Rivers is unhappy with his playing time. You see Kendrick Perkins on ESPN's at The Jump talking about he has reliable sources that tell him that James Harden is not picking up the phone, neither to Silas or Tillman Fertitta, the owner. That's interesting. I don't think James Harden is 100% guaranteeing on the Houston Rockets next season. He might say now that he will be there next season, but only time will tell. And the situation is very interesting with this team because they have no future, they have no draft picks, no young assets. And since James Harden became a superstar and since he got there, they always flipped players. They traded for Dwight Howard, yeah. They added Patrick Beverly. Lou Will did not work. Then they had an 2-year experiment with Chris Paul. It did not work. And I think that experiment was the closer one. That if Chris Paul didn't went down with that hamstring, Game 6, Western Conference Finals, and if somehow Houston would end up in the NBA Finals against that Cleveland team, we don't know how things would be now. And down, they had Capella and engaged so high in this, put so much investment in this pick and roll with Harden. The Labs, Capella was basically a double-double machine. They traded him. They wanted to go micro ball. They got Westbrook. They traded for Westbrook. So they are always flipping and switching. And you wonder, when will this end? Maybe this is why there are more left, because they had no future. He had no room to play, to explore trades. It would be very difficult because they already have 3 not bad, but big money contracts in Harden, Westbrook, and Eric Gordon. Now you hear that PJ Tucker wants more money. Rivers is unhappy with his playing time. So these are all, if you ask me, these are more and more signs that the Houston Rockets are going into a rebuilding situation. And the only way, I think the perfect time to do that is now, while Harden and Westbrook have some value. Because if you trade those two guys, yeah, maybe you will get some young assets and draft picks for your future. I don't know, though, what you can get. Yeah, for Harden, maybe you can get more. But for Westbrook, I don't know. And today we will talk about this. So, there is a Bleacher Report article that says trade packages and landing spots for Russell Westbrook. And there are 3 of them. The first one is with the New York Knicks. And the deal, the guy who wrote the article figured, is Wayne Ellington, Bobby Portis, Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, and the 2021 second round pick for Westbrook. So, I will try to be the general manager of both teams. If I'm the New York Knicks, first of all, I'm not interested in Westbrook. I would jeopardize my future. So the Knicks basically have money this offseason and the next offseason. This offseason, there is not any superstar available, but wait one more season. Maybe someone will finally sign with the Knicks. Maybe. If they bring in Russell Westbrook, they will bring another superstar to make noise. So they will basically have Westbrook with Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett. And they probably need a new superstar via free agency or trade. I don't know how they could get him. I don't know. If Westbrook goes to Knicks this season, maybe they can sneak into the playoffs with the 6-5 seed, something like that, but they will not win the championship. They will not even make the Eastern Conference Finals. So, if I were the Knicks, I would not rush into things of doing this, although I would not be surprised at all given all the bad things that they did in the last 20 years. So I think this is a bad trade for the Knicks. And as a Rockets, moving on and pretending I'm the Rockets general manager, what the hell is this? So basically you don't even offer me a first round pick for Westbrook? You offer me Wayne Ellington, who barely will probably get playing time. Bobby Portis, yeah, it's an expiring, so I would have to take care of him if I want to. Frank Ntilikina, who doesn't even play. Kevin Knox, who showed that he's headed into a busted direction so far. So what kind of trade is this one? Give me Mitchell Robinson or RJ Barrett or even Julius Randle. He'll be more valuable. So I've kind of had some fun in the trade machine, and I kind of tried to do a trade Westbrook to the Rockets. So Bobby Portis is also in my trade, and he has a team option. So this is suggesting that the Knicks will actually take his team option. So the trade is Randall, Portis, Dennis Smith Jr., Kevin Knox, and this round 8th pick. Because man, Westbrook deserves the first round pick. What the heck are you talking about? And Julius Randle will be an expiring. So you can trade him maybe and get another potential first round pick or young asset. If you are the Houston Rockets, you got Dennis Smith Jr. because even though he also disappointed in this first stage of his career, I think he has more value than Frank Ntilikina. Maybe try to revive Kevin Knox. And yeah, I think this is a much better trade for the Rockets. Moving on to the second team. This is the Clippers. And the deal is Pat Bev, Lou Will, Zubac, Magruder, and Mfiondu Kabengele for Westbrook and the 2021 second round pick. So the Rockets will have to give the Clippers a second round pick, which I think is insane. If the Clippers will do this deal, they will basically have no players except for Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi. I don't know how they would fit mentally. We saw that Westbrook and PG kind of worked. They played great in the regular season, then again disappointed in the playoffs. But Paul George had one of his best seasons since he left Indiana, with Paul George and with Westbrook as the point guard. I think Kawhi and Westbrook would have a mental clash, if you want, because Kawhi is that kind of silent leader who's leading by example. And we see Westbrook sometimes in clutch situations, he takes low IQ shots and makes a lot of turnovers because he's rushing into things. And this is not at all the Kawhi Leonard style. Now, I'm sure that he will try to listen to Ty Lue. But I don't think this is a good trade. I don't know. Basically, the Clippers will be left with, as I said, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Westbrook, and veterans. We saw that working for the Lakers, but I don't know if it will work for the Clippers. I kind of did my own trade here, and I don't know if I exaggerated, but my trade is Lou Will, Pat Bev, Zubac. So far the same. That guy Kabengele as well. But I also added Landry Shamet and Terrence Mann and 1 second round pick that the Clippers would have to give the Rockets. Because if you get Lou Will, Pat Bev, you had them before. If you get Zubac, what the heck are you going to do with him? Yeah, he's a good young player with a good contract, but skill-wise, he's like a Clint Capella, less athletic. So you traded Capella to go small. Why would you want Zubac? I don't know. At least get Shemet, who's a young player who kind of has a JJ Redick potential, if you ask me. So get some value in exchange, man. Because you can't trade Westbrook and get old guys like Williams and Pat Bev, who... Lou Williams is 35 years old. How many more playoff misses will he have? I don't know. I think this is a bad trade as well. Now, the last trade that they have here is Detroit Pistons. Blake Griffin was a Westbrook in the 2021 second round pick. I don't even want to talk about it because I think it's terrible. Blake Griffin, we don't know how well he will play. It's a mystery. He's also old. He also has a bad contract. He also had a knee surgery and injury last season and he was out. And the Rockets would also have to give a second round pick. Are you kidding me? Westbrook is the better player than Griffin right now. Why would the Rockets have to give a second round pick? It's incredible if you ask me. So, I don't know what will happen. I know Westbrook is out of Houston. I'm not sure Harden will stay though. You hear the reports now that he's locked in, yada yada, but if Westbrook goes and they don't get any value in return, what will James Harden do? And even these trades that I put out and Breacher Report put it out, those players are not enough to help James Harden go, not even win the championship, but go into the NBA Finals. If he trades Westbrook to the Clippers and they meet with the Clippers, yeah, the Clippers are a superior team. You saw what the Lakers did to them. There are other Warriors are coming. So these are all bad trades. I want to see something better, but I'm not sure I can get something better. I'm not sure I can get something better for Westbrook. This is why I think that, yeah, Russell Westbrook is out, no matter what. And where he will go, depending on what the Houston Rockets will get, they will probably trade Harden as well. Unless they can somehow trade Westbrook for AD, which would be a miracle, and that would never ever happen. So this is why I think James Harden is out as well. And I think trading for James Harden is more interesting than trading for Westbrook, because you'll probably get first round picks for Harden, even young, capable players with upside potential. Like if they traded Harden to the Sixers and get one first round pick and Matisse Thybulle, I would like that. So if Chris Paul goes to the Phoenix Suns, and let's say that the Rockets do either of these three trades that they're out here in the Bleacher Report article, I would take Phoenix over Rockets. Yeah, I would do. You saw how Chris Paul played this season? You saw the floor general that he was, the basketball IQ master that he was. And D-Book is only getting better. Same for DeAndre Ayton. So I will not be surprised if the Rockets will trade James Harden as well. Now, trading for Harden is easier in the sense that you'll probably get more assets, because we all saw trading for Westbrook will be complicated, not impossible. Obviously, the Rockets traded for Westbrook, so it is not impossible, but they need to get good things in return, and I think that's tough. I also did a deal, a fake trade, in a place where I would really like to see Westbrook, and that's Miami, because I think he will fit with Jimmy Butler, and if somehow they can still have Bam, Duncan Robinson, and Tyler Hero, I think Westbrook would be great there, and maybe re-sign Dragic to a veteran minimum. So my trade is Westbrook to the Heat for Iguodala, Kelly Olynyk has a player option, let's say he takes it, Kendrick Nunn, KZ Okpala, and 2 or 3 first round picks, because the players here are not good. I mean, Olynyk is still capable of doing some things. Kendrick Nunn is that young player that can maybe have some things to do in Houston, for God's sake, not Patrick Beverly. So you have to trade Iguodala because he has a massive contract. Olynyk is having 12 million this year if he takes the player option, and because they are not players of Russell Westbrook caliber, this is why I said 2 or 3 first round picks. And Miami has picks. They have picks to offer. And you saw them getting to the NBA Finals this season. And I think that if somehow they can get Westbrook and maybe resign Dragic to a veteran minimum and have Dragic come off the bench, this would be something special. I think the Heat might try to do this. Or if not Westbrook, try to trade for Chris Paul. But I personally would rather see Chris Paul in Phoenix. But try to trade for Chris Paul if you're the Heat, because it's clear that the Miami Heat have one missing piece, and they will probably be right there in the NBA Finals again. Right now, as teams are currently constructed, I will take Brooklyn over Miami. If Harden goes to the East, to the Sixers, that would be interesting to see. So I'm excited. I want to see trades that benefit both teams. In Westbrook case and in Harden's case. I really want to see that. So that's all, guys, for today's episode. I know it's probably gonna be a shorter one. We have no news. The draft is coming 18th of November. Then 22nd of November, the free agency starts, and we will have more to talk about, hopefully. Then on Sunday, the ATP Nitto finals start in London. I will be doing a lot more episodes of tennis there because I'm excited. And I want the free agency to start sooner because I want to see those trades, and I want to see some crazy trades that can somehow benefit both teams. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this. Follow me on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, leave a like, share it to this episode for your friends to see it. So stay healthy and peace out.